Islam Makhachev versus Della Maddelena is the hardest fight I've ever had to predict on this YouTube channel. I've had to predict Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway. I've had to predict Dricus Du Plessis versus Hamza Chimaev, but this takes the cake. This is simply the hardest fight to predict probably in my channel's history. Throughout the last couple weeks, I have gone from Islam to JDM, back to Islam, and now I am where I am at. And I want to tell you guys what I think of this fight today. Before we get into my official prediction for this absolute mega fight, make sure you subscribe. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We're at like 985 subscribers right now. It takes 1 second and it would mean a lot, man. Just subscribe, help a brother out. But without further ado, let's talk about my official predictions for this dream fight, boys. JDM versus Islam Makhachev. So this fight obviously means a lot, dude. Islam Makhachev, he's finally moving up after years and years doing what his father pretty much, Khabib Nurmagomedov, could never do. His brother pretty much, Khabib, was just never able to be a double champ. Something that forever will loom over Khabib's career, just not being in the game long enough, not being able to go up a division, not being able to win that second title. Islam Makhachev is finally being able to do that. He is finally in the place with 4 title defenses at 155. He's going up to welterweight, but it's not going to be with ease. He's going to have to face Della Maddelena, a very, very good champion as of right now. Someone who's coming off a win where he won the title against Belal Muhammad, where he was a very big underdog in, and JDM looked quick. He looked great. He looked very fast in that last fight against Belal Muhammad, and I think part of that is why a lot of people are taking JDM in this fight. I think the odds right now are a pick 'em. They are very close. A lot of people don't know who to pick, and like myself, dude, I don't know who to pick. Before this video, I was thinking about changing my prediction last minute. This is a super close fight, and I think that it's going to be a super close fight. I don't think it's going to be a domination like a Dricus Du Plessis versus Hamza Chimaev. I think this is just going to be a very close fight from start to finish, and I guess we can talk about it today. I want to start off by saying what my picks are based off of, what my final prediction of this fight are based off of. For JDM, I'm going to be taking a lot of things off his last fight against Belal Muhammad. I was able to figure out a lot about JDM's game, about what he's good at, what he struggles at in that last fight at UFC 315 against Belal Muhammad. For Islam Makhachev, I'm going to be taking a lot of notes on that fight against Dustin Poirier, where he fought a very good boxer like Dustin Poirier, one of the best boxers ever, similar to how he's facing JDM, a very talented boxer as of right now. So I'm going to be basing my pick off the Islam versus Poirier fight at UFC 302 very much. And I got to say, JDM, he looked very good against Belal Muhammad. Like I said, JDM, that was one of those performances where a star was born. JDM went out there and he looked very good. I wouldn't say it was a domination. I would say it was a close fight, but obviously JDM clearly won. I had it 3-2 JDM, maybe even a 4-1 JDM, and he looked very good in it. However, something that does concern me, something that I look back onto, is that Belal Muhammad, he was holding up in the striking. He was able to land a nice counter now and then. He was able to land a nice 1-2 now and then. A nice overhand as he shot for a takedown now and then. And I think that Islam Makhachev, his boxing is better than Belal Muhammad. Belal Muhammad went in there at UFC 315 and he just wanted to prove a point. He wanted to prove a point that his boxing is better than a lot of people think. And he did that. He did just that. However, in that, it pretty much costed him that fight. If Belal Muhammad actually went in there and followed the game plan, did what he was supposed to do, shot takedown from the first round to the 5th round, similar to what he did against Leon Edwards, I believe we would be talking about a very different scenario in the entire UFC right now. We wouldn't be getting this fight. We wouldn't be getting Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev. That's the fight we would be getting. But we're not in that position, so we got to talk about this fight. Belal Muhammad, if he followed the game plan, I think he would have won. And I can't say that. I'm going to get hate for saying that. But it is the truth. And, well, it's hard to take a lot from that fight because of that. Belal didn't exactly follow the game plan, but I'm still going to be taking stuff off that fight because that is the most recent example of JDM that we have to. If you guys understand what I'm saying, Belal Muhammad, if he went in there and actually mixed in the striking with a little bit of wrestling, with a lot of bit of wrestling, he would have won that fight. And I think that is a very big key to victory for Islam Makhachev. Islam Makhachev, we know that the Dagestanis are some of the best game planners, some of the best game followers, if you guys know what I'm saying, in the UFC. We have never seen a true Dagestani, a true Khabib camp guy go in there and not execute. Every time they manage to follow the game plan, they don't stick away because it's so dominant and it works so well. And Bilal Muhammad, I understand he trained with the Dagestani, but he doesn't have that Dagestani heart, brother. When you really dig down, when you're really going to put that pressure on Bilal Muhammad, he isn't a Dagestani deep down. It sounds corny. I say that. It sounds really corny, but that's the truth, dude. Islam is a true Dagestani. He is the protege of Abdul Magomedov, the father of Khabib. If you guys know what I'm saying here, I'm sorry for butchering that name, guys. But Islam will follow the game plan. That's my point. Islam is not going to just go away from the game plan. Islam's going to go in there, and whatever the game plan is, whatever Javier Mendez, whatever freaking Khabib cooks up, he's going to follow that. And I think it's going to work. I think that Islam's going to go in there, and he's going to shoot early. I think that is the clear and obvious game plan, to just shoot. Do not risk being on the feet too long with JDM. I'm going to touch on that a little bit later in this video. I don't believe JDM has some world-class knockout power, bro. One punch, you're going out. But it's not worth risking it. I think now and then you can be on the feet with JDM. It's not that risky. It's not like you're going against someone like Ilia Topuria. But don't try to do a Bilal Muhammad. Don't try to stand up with this guy for 5 rounds, you guys. You can't do that. He is just... JDM's too good, man. JDM's boxing is one of the best boxers in the UFC right now at the end of the day. You can't just go in there and try to stand 5 rounds with him. Bilal did it, and he did decent. He did decent. And you got to give a lot of credit to Bilal Muhammad for that. But still, you can't just go in there and try to box with him for 5 rounds. I don't think Islam is going to do that, but I'm just pointing that out. Islam... He's got to go in there, and he's got to basically just smash, brother. He's got to smash. He's got to just wrestle, elbow, get JDM tired. You know, one of the things that JDM is credited on is that he does not accept position. But Islam's going to be able to control him. On the ground, Islam Makhachev will be able to lay on him. He will be able to just control him from... If he gets him down, if Islam gets him down, he's going to be able to control him. You have to understand that is just the Dagestani way of life, brother. Khabib did it. Islam's done it his entire career. Other guys in the UFC, the Dagestanis have done it. You can't get away from that. Guys like Tadjir Ulanbekov, guys like Tadjir Ulanbekov have done it. It is just simply the Khabib can't wait. They dominate you. They lay on you. We can just go with other Russians. Guys like Marab, the Caucasus region fighters as a whole, the Hamza Chimaev method. They're going to be able to lay on you. They're going to be able to hold you down. They know how to distribute their weight better than anyone. They are the best at that. So I don't want to hear any of this, bro. JDM, man, his ability to get up, his ability to not accept position is some of the best in the UFC. Well, Islam Makhachev's ability to hold you down is also some of the best in the UFC. So I think that's going to counteract. However, like I said, how likely is it that Islam Makhachev gets him down? How exactly likely is it that happens? You know, and I think that is something that is very important to touch on because, well, if he can't hold him down, he can't lay on him for 25 minutes if he can't get him down in the first place. JDM, I like the kid's takedown defense. I do. But it definitely has room for improvement. I think that is something that he definitely will be working on in the next 6 months. Not 6 months. What would we have until this fight? 2 more months? 3 more months? And the next 2 months, JDM is going to be working relentlessly on his takedown defense. And you got to understand, JDM also has a size advantage on Islam Makhachev. The first time ever in Islam Makhachev's career he will be going in there and being the smaller man. We've never seen that for Islam. That is something big. That is something very important. Will Islam Makhachev be able to just go in there and ragdoll JDM to the ground? Will we be able to take him down? Will we be able to hold him against the fence? And the simple and short answer to that is yes. I believe yes. And that is a big thing. That is a huge thing in this fight. And for me, just able to say yes, well, then that sounds crazy. Islam Makhachev is huge. He is an absolutely huge 155 pounder. He fights at 181 in that Renato Moicano fight. He is pretty much walking around at the same out of camp weight as JDM, maybe even bigger. Islam Makhachev is probably walking in there close to 190 pounds. That's crazy to me. He could be, some days this guy could reach 200 pounds, brother. That's not ridiculous to say. And you got to understand, Islam Makhachev, brother, I've been seeing this kid put in the work. I've been looking at this guy's Insta. I've been seeing him put in that gains. And he's just looking more and more like a 170 pounder, just more and more every day. I don't think the size discrepancy is really going to be a problem for Islam. I think Islam is just going to be able to go in there and look just as big as JDM. Islam is just a strong fighter. At the end of the day, we know how strong Islam Makhachev is. And it's not going to be too different at 170 because he's putting on the muscle correctly, because he was already that strong at 155, able to outmuscle literally everyone at 155. that he'll be able to actually have average strength against JDM. Maybe he won't have the insane strength that he did at 155, but he will definitely be able to hold up against the 170 pounders, and he's putting on muscle as we speak. Who knows, the time of I'm recording this video, the time you're watching this video, Islam Makhachev is probably in the gym benching like 325, brother. I don't even know. Islam Makhachev is an absolute unit. He's super strong. It sounds like I'm glazing, but I believe that Islam is going to be able to get JDM down. However, in the circumstance that JDM can stuff these takedowns early and keep it on the feet, it might be a different story. However, I don't think it will be a different story. I still see Islam doing well. If JDM can stuff all the takedowns from Islam Makhachev early, so be it. Islam will be able to hold up on the feet, just like Belal Muhammad did. If Belal Muhammad was able to go in there against JDM and just absolutely and look decent. I shouldn't say absolutely, but look decent in the striking. And I'm not clowning on JDM. I'm not trying to make fun of JDM striking. I do believe that JDM is one of the best boxers in the UFC. I think Belal Muhammad's striking is also great. Belal Muhammad has really good striking. People make memes about it, but Belal has good striking. And I think Islam also has way better striking. Islam Makhachev is probably the second best striker at 155, only behind Ilia Topuria. And he's going up a division with that striking, and he's going to be able to withhold. He's going to be able to go in there and hold on. He's going to be able to compete with someone like JDM. And if he needs to, if he cannot get this fight on the ground, I am still trusting Islam to at least be able to hold JDM against the cage, at least be able to just smudge grapple, similar to what we've seen Mario Batista do against Jose Aldo. If Islam can't get him down, well, then that is what Islam will do. He will at least do that. Islam's not going to try to go in there and make this an entertaining fight. He's going to be able to hold you against the cage, and if he needs to, we're going to welcome, brother, I'll welcome you on the striking, brother. He's going to pop the jab, pop, 1-2, 1-2. Maybe JDM will land a big 1-2, 1-2-3, 1-2 overhand now and then, but Islam Makhachev will be able to land his own nice little combinations, and he's going to be able to hold JDM against the cage, and then he'll throw in a takedown now and then, and that's going to be enough over the course of 5 rounds to win the fight. That is going to be enough. I don't want to hear anything about, man, old man Dustin Poirier was going in there and he was piecing Islam Makhachev up, bro. I don't know what was up with Islam in that fight, man. Islam does not look that good in that fight, but I still feel like if you were to just watch that fight, even with Islam Makhachev looking that bad, I would still say that Islam wins, because Islam's striking, it looked okay in that fight. That was not one of the best displays of Islam striking. We've seen it a lot of other fights where his striking has looked a lot better, like the Charles fight, like the Volks fight. The Dustin Poirier fight, his striking didn't look the best. But I think that Islam is gonna. I think the problem with Islam in that Dustin Poirier fight is that he respected Dustin Poirier's power way too much. You shouldn't be going in there and respecting Dustin Poirier's power like he is some one-hitter quitter type of guy. And I think that's the same thing with JDM. I think the Islam corner will learn from the first fight. I think they're gonna learn from the fight with Poirier. They're gonna learn that they don't exactly have to go in there and just fear this guy's power. JDM, he is not gonna knock you out with one punch. Who has he done that to? Gilbert Burns, he landed a fluke knee against. Who else? He went to a decision with Belal. He's not going to knock you out with one punch. Over time, this guy will out-volume you and knock you out, sure, but one punch is not going to put you out, Islam. You don't have to worry about that, dude. You don't have to worry about it. Don't be afraid to strike. Don't respect this guy's striking. I say that, but that comes with stuff. Obviously, it's MMA. You always have to respect your opponent's striking a little bit, but don't act like JDM's going to go in there and just absolutely knock you out with one punch, bro. You don't have to worry that much about JDM striking. I think that Islam, he's going to go in there and he's just not going to respect JDM. That should be the plan, not as much as he did with Poirier. And my final pick is Islam Makhachev, guys. And this took a lot. This took a lot out of me, a lot of tape watching, a lot of just going back to their old fights. I had to watch JDM's entire career. I watched the Gilbert Burns fight, and I saw JDM get taken down by Gilbert Burns a lot of times. Gilbert Burns is also a former 155 pounder, by the way. I'm just saying, all signs for me are pointing towards Islam Makhachev. So my final pick is gonna be Islam Makhachev, dude. Islam is just, he's superior, dude, and they have plot armor. The Dagestanis also always have plot armor. So I have to go with Islam Makhachev, and with this win, he becomes not the welterweight GOAT, not the 155 GOAT, but the GOAT of all time, brother. I'll make a whole another video about that, with a win over Della Maddelena, with him cementing himself as the 10th double champ in UFC history. Actually, he could be the 11th, because we got Zhang Weili versus Valentin Shevchenko in the coming event. But maybe if he is the 11th double champ in UFC history, I think that cements him as the greatest of all time. But that's going to do it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like. Make sure to comment down below. And I'll see you guys in the next one. MMA Outpost out.